Boris Brakovic, election director. It seems that there were certain technical difficulties for our colleagues to sign in. If you don't mind, we will just give them 2 more minutes for everyone to join us who wants to join us today, and then we will start with the meeting. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Again, we have 205 chief judges, volunteers who signed to serve as chief judges on election day, May 14th. So I welcome you all to this briefing today. As I said, my name is Boris Brakovic. I'm election director for Montgomery County Board of Elections. And I just have a few opening remarks before we start, before we go through the list of technical updates and details that we want to share with you. Let me start by saying thank you all for signing up to serve as chiefs on election day. I know that many of you have served as during early voting. Many of you also with us in a canvas of vote by mail ballots. I used to be chief. I used to be judge and chief, and I fully understand what you signed up for this election. I know what you've been signing up for many years, for many of you. So thank you again. A few general remarks about elections, about this primary election. You all follow news, I believe. Many of you, as I said, you worked during early voting, and you realize that there's a quite low turnout for the 2024 presidential primary election. In addition to low turnout of in-person voters, we have quite low return rate of vote by mail ballots for these elections. Out of 133,000 requested mail-in ballots, out of 133,000 requested mail-in ballots, roughly 50,000 have been returned today. What would be the turnout on election day is one unknown to us. We fully understand that some states that had elections right before Maryland, primary election right before Maryland, experienced quite low overall turnout. So we will see how that will play out. I believe that many of you are looking at the weather forecast. Many of you have realized that Tuesday afternoon we are expecting some rain, which historically might have a negative impact on increasing the turnout on election day. Whether this overall interest for the election itself, we believe that the interest for the primary is not something that will be reflected in general election. However, what we have on hands so far during early voting and vote by mail is rather low. Again, how it will be on election day, we will see. The last few comments relate to the purpose of today's meeting. Traditionally, Montgomery County Board of Elections has this briefing with all chiefs right before the election day to provide any last moment updates, any clarifications before you all go into setting up your polling places and on Monday and opening your polling places on Tuesday morning. What this meeting is not intended for is to discuss particularities of your individual polling places needs. I believe that many of you will have questions about staffing of your polling places, availability of election judges, availability of certain specialties at your polling place. These questions will need to be directed directly to recruitment, or similar questions need to be directed to my colleagues who run different sections and who take care of staffing, polling place, equipment, organization of the polling place, and similar. I know that many of you might have interest to consider certain hypotheticals and what ifs, situations that might materialize, might happen, or you heard that happened somewhere else in the nation. I would appreciate if we would leave those questions for direct communication between you and the help desk, either on Monday when we start opening, or on Tuesday in the course of election day, if they actually happen. So that would be from me for this opening. I would leave it to Miss Janet Ross, who is Janet, still second?
No, she wanted you to believe that.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Last question that I was asked, just to very briefly address, is the election equipment allocation that you will have at your polling places. There is a formula that calculates the number of poll books, scanners, or any other equipment that is deployed for each polling place in an election. That formula is based on expected overall turnout, then separated turnout from early voting, vote by mail, and election day. So you might see your equipment that stayed the same as in 2022, went up or down. But again, that allocation is based on projected turnout and formula that provides allocation of equipment itself. Now that will be all for me from now. I'll pick up later as need be. I would like to give the floor to my colleague Chris for the recruitment. Chris.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being patient today while we were getting organized. I have a few quick comments. First of all, most of you picked up your supply bags today. I thank you for that, and you're welcome to open them when your two chiefs are together and look through them. Let us know if you have any questions about your supplies. One thing that we've noted over early voting was that some of the candidates were trying to be showing their appreciation for the election workers and and they brought in things such as food as a gesture of thank you. I need to remind you that we, as the Board of Elections, are not accepting any gratuity type gifts. So if you have candidates approach you regarding delivering sweets or a pizza, anything of that nature, or the food nature, kindly deny them, thank them, but that's not something that we can do. We consider it a conflict. Secondly, I have an issue that I'd like to talk about with greeters. Some of you have greeters assigned at your locations, and some of them are minors. I need to remind you that when you have a minor, they are not to leave the building. They can be a greeter outside of your poll room door or in the corridor where the voters come to approach the poll room, but minors are not supposed to leave the building for any reason. So I would like you to monitor that for us. Another issue that we have is in your packet that was given to you today during your supplies, which we call our last minute packet. You're going to find a safety placard in there. That basically should be kept with the chiefs on your work area so that if there's any emergency, that people can find out the information that they need to rely to the first responders. You need to call 911, and the information that is needed to supply the first responders is on that card. So please keep that with you in case of emergency. Another thing, we've noticed that in some cases, chiefs have expected to find a landline at their polling place. We've discontinued landlines. So what we are asking that chiefs carry their cells with them at all times, have them on and powered. It's most important that the night before, after your meeting, that you make sure that you take time to power up those cells. So when you go in the morning, we have communication with you. Another thing is stipends come out about 6 weeks after you've served, and I would like it and I would appreciate it if you would process those checks quickly. We have found that sometimes people forget that they have checks, and it has been an issue with creating them. We can have them recreated, but we would appreciate you processing the stipends immediately so we can go forward with our accounting process. And lastly, you're going to find EJ or election judge appreciation pins in your packet. Some of your people, some of the people that will be serving with you will have received a pin because they were in early voting and were issued pins at that time. If that's the case, they won't be receiving a pin, but we feel that we've given you enough appreciation pins that you will be able to have pins for the people that serve with you on election day if they have not already served or received a pin. That is basically all I had, just a few comments of things that we've discovered that we thought were important to you. Thank you, and we wish you luck on election day. We have one more message for you. Student, we have a question. Yes, future vote, anyone that serves as an election worker at the polls will receive an appreciation pin. So our students are welcome to have a pin, even if they're future vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Just a brief comment to add to what Chris just said now. Chris addressed the issue of candidates on the ballots providing donuts or similar appreciation, signs of appreciation to the volunteers serving at the polling place. The same applies for any candidate on a ballot who would like to enter polling room to say hi, to say thank you, just to briefly interact with the election judges. The policy of Montgomery County Board of Elections that any candidate whose name is on the ballot enters the polling place to vote as a voter, and any exchange with the election staff, election judges at the polling place should not take place. Thank you. Isha?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aisha Mills Farrago. I'm here with the recruitment office. And this morning, you guys received some information from us in your last minute packet. I wanted to go over with you. One of them was on this pink sheet of paper. If you guys can see this, it's reminders from recruitment. And I'm not going to read the entire thing to you, but I just wanted to talk about a few things. Just a few things. On the form, Chris already mentioned the election worker pins. I just wanted to discuss the payroll sheets that you guys have in your packet, and this is sort of an example of what this will look like. So everybody should have one of these on a colored piece of paper. And on election day sign up or set up, Monday the 13th, you'll have all of your election judges initial in the center. And then on election day, you will have them sign for their service on election day. If someone fails to report for their service, two things I'd like you to do is one, call the recruitment office, and then also enter them as a no-show on your sheet. And chief judges, you will have a name, you'll have to sign twice. Once next to your name on the roster, and then also on the signature page. If you guys can see this, just to certify that everybody here on your roster has worked that day. And that would help us out a lot in terms of getting the payroll processed. There had been a question in previous years that some volunteers who have chosen to decline the stipend didn't sign the payroll sheet because they weren't being paid, but this also serves as confirmation of your service. So even if they have said they're not getting paid or they're working for SSL hours, we'd still like them to sign on the payroll sheet. Another thing is the service hours. I did indicate them on the sheet, so you'll know what time someone is expected. Most of your judges are expected first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. The evening shift would be your VOP B, which is your voter operations B, which is the afternoon shift, arriving at 2. And then your closers that arrive at 6:30 p.m. And lastly, there's position adjustments here. If you need any of the position adjustments, I would recommend that you call your recruiter. On Monday, we'll be here 8:30 until the setup meeting, and then we'll also be here on election day at 5:30 a.m. So they'll be available to you by phone. If you'd like to email them, our email addresses are on the website if you had any questions. And that's all I have for you today. Okay.
Thank you, Aisha. Mindy Williams, the operations manager for Board of Elections,
I'm not logged in.
please.
Hi, I'm Mindy Williams. I'm the operations manager here at the Board of Elections. One simple thing for me is any facility related questions, please immediately reach out to the call center on Monday night. If you have any facility related questions between now and Monday, please send me an email. Telephone at the moment isn't a very good form of communication for me, only because I'm running. So please send me an email, and Monday, if you have any facility issues, immediately contact the help desk. We'll have somebody from MCPS available to assist us with getting into the facilities. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mindy. The next, we would like to go over future vote media and language line with Gilberto Zelaya. Gilberto?
Give me 1 second. We get share
cannot
my
hear you.
screen.
We cannot hear you, Gilberto.
I'm unmuted. Jerry, can you unmute me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Mm,
Can you hear me, Dr. Z?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, Boris says he can't hear me. Boris, can you hear me?
We cannot hear you.
I wouldn't know why they can't hear me.
I think I think the people can hear you because they're raising their hands and
Can someone, can they type in the chat that they can hear me or not?
there's no chat.
Okay,
Do we want to skip Z until he gets on? That's probably a good idea.
We cannot still hear you.
huh? Oh, they can hear, the recruiter just said they can hear me. Okay. So I will continue. I apologize if Boris and the team in the boardroom cannot hear me. But my name is Gilberto Zelaya. I will go over some aspects of future vote, the language line, and also
Can
media
other
business.
people hear? We cannot hear you.
Hold on.
First one back.
Julia,
Oh, we can hear you now.
can you hear me? The recruiters can hear me and Janet can hear me.
Boardroom.
I know, but Janet and the recruiters can hear me. Okay. I'll continue. I just got 2 texts from the chiefs that they can hear me. So future vote. So in the 2020 elections, we did not implement future vote. Keep in mind, future vote has been implemented here in Montgomery County since 2004. So technically, we are in the rebuilding stage or phase of future vote. Nonetheless, I'm going to go at the high level, some information for those individuals who have yet have exposure to the program. Okay. So as I mentioned, it was started in 2004. I joined the Montgomery County Board of Elections in 2003 as the Community Engagement Officer under Section 203. And the premise of Future Vote is to really introduce our youth to participatory democracy. It's also has been an incredible recruitment tool for the Montgomery County Board of Elections, where we inject new blood into our poll worker force. Since then, we visit all high schools in Montgomery County, and we have registered to vote over 25,000 students. And within that student pool, we have also recruited over 10,000 high school students to serve as poll workers, hopefully before they graduate or once they turn 16, as they would meet the state requirements to pre-register to vote and or to serve as an election worker. These students are tech savvy and bilingual, and they have boundless energy, and has helped us as it pertains to recruitment for language competency in our polling places and early voting centers. As you know, Montgomery County over the last 2 decades have been recognized as one of the most diverse locations, having the most diverse cities in America. One of the benefits quickly, if you see, regarding Future Vote is as these students age in the program, they become poll workers. We have one of the youngest poll worker force in America. For the 2022 elections, our average age of our poll workers was about 54. Nationally, it was 61. And approximately a little under 15% of our poll workers are 25 years and younger. And for those who are give and take 18 and younger, about 11%. So we've benefited for incorporating these students to really introduce them to participatory democracy, but also to serve our voters. Now, one of the things that you may see if one of these students' names appears on the Future Vote roster and also appears on the election worker payroll, that student is a full-fledged, trained, and vetted election worker. What happens is in the process of recruitment in high schools, a lot of the students were yet to be 16. They weren't 16 yet of age. Once they turned 16, they would then pre-register to vote. They would submit an application and a parental permission slip. And if time was on their side, they were able to do the quiz and do the in-person training just as the chiefs and other VOPs have done. The issue is that the modules don't communicate with each other, and so we're working on that as a future enhancement. So if the student's name is on both lists, they are vetted, they are trained, and use them accordingly. Now we're going to get into the program for future vote. Now, the Monday evening precinct setup is mandatory. I do not care if the older daughter has a softball championship game. Many years ago, Justin Bieber was in town and we lost like 10% of our young ladies because it was a concert downtown. No exceptions. Just like our election workers, if you do not attend the Monday precinct setup, they will not serve on election day. There's rules that have to be followed. Even Monopoly has rules. So this was clearly communicated to the guardians. It's plastered all over the module when they applied, and it's covered in their training. So they must attend the Monday precinct setup. Once they do, they will need to sign the rosters for their child to receive SSL hours. And if you keep the family for longer than an hour, make a note on their roster so I could give the child SSL credits, but don't know, 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. It has to be a complete hour. For 15, 13 minutes, that's not extra time. They have to be for the complete hour. And guardian participation and also presence is expected. If a child walks into your polling place before the Monday precinct meeting, make that child call their guardian to come back to attend the gathering. And the setups, obviously, tables, chairs, signage. They'll get very creative with the blue painter's tape. They will familiarize themselves with the polling room, bathrooms, etc. Please share the precinct phone number with the guardian. I communicated to the guardian at training that phone number is not to check up on their child if they're bored or not, if they had breakfast or what have you. They're supposed to escort their child on election day, and they're supposed to pick up their child as well. But that phone number, that precinct phone number, is for emergencies only. This is where you'll discuss allergies, etc., or any food restrictions. So by all means, this will be communicated at the Monday precinct setup. This is a sample of the roster for Monday. You can write a note on the chief judge. It's in red. Obviously, I don't expect you to write it in red pen. Obviously, it's black, but just to kind of show the difference, just write a simple note if they're a hard worker. The student needs to sign this Monday evening roster. This is kind of the future vote version of the election worker payroll. If the student does not sign, we will not scan the barcode to award them student service learning credits. This is what this Laytonsville Elementary School looks like. The shifts are noted on the roster. We'll discuss the different shifts that are pre-approved. And this is Judith Resnick. Now, if you look at Resnick's future vote, Laytonsville had more students. At the beginning of recruitment or before training, every polling place had at least one future vote ambassador. Now, when the student does not attend training, they are purged. Their name will not appear on the roster and they cannot serve. The only names that will appear on said roster Monday and Tuesday are students that attended their future vote training that were held in April. The approved shifts are 6 to 9, 9 to 12, and so on every 3 hours from that point on. Only 2 students per shift. With precincts with 5 volunteers or less, you could ask a student if they would like to do a second shift. You will discuss this during the Monday precinct setup and make a note on the roster, because if they do serve 2 shifts, then I will give them additional student service learning credit hours. For those with those precincts with 3 or less, for example, like Resnick Elementary School, you could modify the hours. Because it's important to have some type of coverage to assist the adult election workers. And so here's the example. So these 2 students, the one is working from 9 to 12, the other is working from 12 to 3. If you need to, you could ask them to work double shift. You could also modify the shift. So the first student, Natalie, originally the guardian selected 9 to 12. So they were willing to do a double shift from 9 to 3. And so you would note that on the roster, so I will give him the SSL hours. Miriam, on the other hand, had no problem coming in a little bit later. Her original shift was from 12 to 3, but she's willing to work from 3 to 9, so you'll have evening coverage. So for those polling places with 3 or less, you could modify the hours accordingly so you could have coverage. But for those locations with 5 or more, it's going to be very difficult. Just stick to the script. The 6 a.m. to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, okay? And I've communicated with the guardians and the parents. They need to arrive on time on election day. The same student that will serve in the primaries will also return to serve in the general election. They need to sign the roster. The guardian or family member next of kin must drop off their child and they must pick him up. I do not want a child walking in on their own or leaving on their own. They need to be picked up or dropped off. I always use my son as an example. He's 6'2" and my wife dropped him off when he was in 9th, 10th grade. So it doesn't matter how much they could bench, they need to be picked up and dropped off. No cell phones, they know that. No partisan paraphernalia to be wearing, face mask optional, and we ask them to wear comfortable clothing, but no shorts or hats. And here's some of the service tasks. Obviously, they need to be polite and not acknowledge the voters, inform voters of prohibited activities, etc. And if needed, ask the chief election worker for assistance if maybe they feel uncomfortable asking a voter a certain question, or maybe they're taking pictures and they feel intimidated. Some of these students are soft-spoken, but most of them are very proactive. And then you have the student that's in the end, the kind of the greeter, and there's also the exit. Once the voter's about to leave, they will distribute the I voted sticker. They will ask individuals if they would like to serve as an election worker, or maybe they'll have a question, how did you, as a middle school 9th grade student, or how did you get into this program? There's going to be a sign-up sheet. And also they're there to keep the polling room and the location and the information table clean and free of clutter. And some other things as well. They could collect and recycle pins. They could keep the entrance and exits clear, indicate restrooms, collect the privacy sleeves from the scanning judge and take it to the check-in judge or the ballot table, dispose of partisan literature left in the voting booth or the room, and provide bilingual assistance when appropriate. Some of these students have identified having language competency. Ask the guardian. I did tell the guardian at training, if your child could barely keep a conversation with their grandparents, they're not bilingual. If they could order food in Chipotle in Spanish, that's not being bilingual. So ask your student if they are truly bilingual, and you could update the roster accordingly. And they also could help if a voter needs assistance, but they will need to fill out the voter assistance form. And shutdown for those students working from 6 p.m. to 9. They know that the doesn't matter how many individuals are in line at 8 p.m., the last voter will vote. And then once the polling place or the precinct has closed, they will be there to receive instructions from the chief about bringing down posters and signage. And they cannot leave the polling room. Even if it's after 9, obviously you're not done with your closing procedures, but everything else has been done. The guardian still needs to tell the corresponding chief, I am taking my child Sebastian or Amy or Ryan, and they must enter the polling room to escort their child. They cannot just walk out on their own. And I quickly mentioned those students who didn't attend training got purged from their shift that the guardian selected, but they will be given an opportunity over the summer or early fall before the November elections to be trained. And SSL, so do not, I repeat, do not sign any student service learning form, because what's going to happen is similar to payroll, about 3 to 4 weeks after election day, I will email the corresponding guardian their corresponding SSL with all the hours incorporated. They get 1 hour for training, etc., and for Monday setup and election day service. So do not sign any form, because what's going to happen is they're going to double dip. You're going to sign the form, and then I'm going to email them 3 to 4 weeks later, and they're going to have a second form to submit. So they're basically double dipping. The submission deadline is Friday, May 24th. I will have these forms sent out earlier. Now we're going to go quickly into the media. You may have visits. I've gotten 1 or 2 calls. It's been very quiet, as Director Brakovich mentioned. If a representative from the press comes, they must provide ID and they have credentials, and they must sign in the visitor log. I've given credentials to 2 media outlets. There are hundreds in the area. They may just show up without credentials from the Board of Elections, but they still can documents, but they will need to sign the visitor's log. If you look at this image right here, this is the Lawton Community Center. I had the individuals kind of sit at the far end so they could pan. I do not want them walking around the polling room. I do not want them next to the scanner or the voting booth or the BMDs or behind a check-in table. You will put them in a specific corner where they could have a pan view. Those cameras are very powerful, but give them the instructions and identify a location during your Monday setup. And if you want to, you could even put an X on the floor, and that's where they will stand. If they need to interview anyone, that has to be outside the no electioneering zone. They cannot interview individuals in the hallway or in the polling room. And they may not disrupt the process, and they cannot really compromise the secrecy of the voters' voting process. If anything is needed, you could call or text me at 240-508-4820. Does not mean that I'm going to run to your particular polling place. I have a short list of locations I need to visit and help with some of the media coverage. I will try my best if you do contact me or call me, but you have the instructions on how to proceed. Language line. Now, the language line, most of the polling places will have coverage for Spanish speakers. We also do a concerted effort to recruit individuals with bilingual competency in other languages, Amharic, Vietnamese, French, etc. If a voter comes in and they need assistance in the language other than Spanish or English, or maybe your Spanish-speaking election judge you don't have one, or they're busy tending to someone else, or they're on break, you could use the language line. Just follow the steps 1 through 6. But please, 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 I need to emphasize, you need to fill out, but the date obviously is the 14th. We also use the line during early voting, so I need the corresponding date, the time, circle the language. If one of these languages listed, Amharic, Chinese, Farsi, French, Korean, Russian, Spanish, Vietnamese, if it's a different, like Igbo or American Sign Language, or not sign language, but another language, you can note under other and then initialize, because weeks later, months later, we will get a bill from the language line, and we want to audit that to ensure that we are being billed appropriately, because county government uses the same vendor. We want to make sure what services we're being billed. And thank you. Appreciate your time and your patience. And this PDF will be PowerPoint will be emailed via Ms. Douglas.
Okay, thank you, Gilberto. Before we continue, just my colleague Aisha has 2 additional remarks that she would like to make.
Hi again. 2 things to mention on staffing in the precinct. If you have an individual who reports to work and they are not on your roster, I would ask that you please call us immediately, because we do have sometimes people who are given assignments at certain precincts, but they are not authorized from the Board of Elections to work in the precinct. And those people should not be serving as poll workers. We did have a few incidents over early voting where people showed up because they had communication from somebody, but it just wasn't us, but they should not be serving as poll workers. And then your payroll at the end of the night should be returned to us in your red chief bag. So if you could put it in the same envelope that you received it in, and then put it in your red chief bag to be returned. Okay.
Okay. Last segment is my colleague Julia Douglas, the training specialist. She will go over a couple of procedural updates and the reminders. Julia.
Good evening, everyone. hopefully everyone's went through training, everyone feels prepared. We got a few updates, far fewer than we've had in the past. I'm just going to kind of go down a list. Everything that I'm going to mention, we will email to you in a written form. Quick little things. You know, this year we have the mail-in ballot certificate. The one change that's on there, some of you would have received this in training, some of you might not. The difference is that it has a tally sheet. So each time someone completes brings in that mail-in ballot, you're going to put a tally on that. If you worked early voting, you would have seen that already. We got a correction that we need to do. On the notice to the unaffiliated voters sheet, that is a green 8.5 by 11 sheet. We need to make a change in the Spanish language translation section. The close of registration date to read April 23rd. It says April 27th. So we're just asking that when you put those sheets at check-in to just put a 3 over the 7. And as I said, I'm going to email all of these, well, they'll come through the recruiters, but all of these updates for you. Your red supply bag with all your chief items in it. It will arrive with a red seal on it, not a blue seal. Just to make sure that everybody understands that that's not a mistake. It's just coming out with a red seal. Drop boxes. Some precincts may have a drop box outside. Please, if anybody comes in and tells you it's locked, let them know that all they need to do is to push the ballot through the black flap. With the orange sticker, as I've been reminded. It's got arrows, it's got signs. But we found out during early voting, we do need to give some more information. Just want everyone to be aware that those drop boxes are not locked. The other thing I need to talk about with drop boxes is that for those precincts that have a drop box outside, and you will know if this applies to you. I think we talked about in training. There's going to be some precincts where at the election night closing, you'll need to send out a VOP to lock that drop box. And that is all they need to do is lock the drop box. They're not collecting the ballots. You will, if this applies to you, you will have in your orange provisional supply bag, you're going to have an olive green bag. And in that bag will be all the supplies and instructions that you need. You should also have a copy of the instructions somewhere in your supplies if you are one of the precincts. It is not every precinct that has a drop box. Some of them will have an attendant that outside a precinct that comes, but there are a number where this is going to happen. What the instructions are there, they're just going to select somebody at 7:30. They're going to come out. They're going to take the key that's supplied, close that little flap, because that's what that padlock is for, to close the flap on that drop box, and to make sure that happens in a timely manner. You'll also have the same rules apply that are in the precinct, where any voter who is in line at 8 p.m. They can put their ballot in the drop box. Anybody that comes after that, you're going to collect the ballot in that green bag. And I said all the instructions will be there for you. You can call the help desk if you have any questions about that. I encourage everyone to, when you get your supplies, to make sure if you do have this bag, if you have questions about it, call us on Monday night, so that on Tuesday, this process can go smoothly and the drop boxes can be closed at 8 p.m. in a timely manner. There's a new form. You may have seen it during early voting. It's called the cancellation of the permanent mail-in ballot request form, another one of our easy to say forms that we here at BOE like to create. Once again, that's the cancellation of the permanent mail-in ballot request form. The purpose of this is for those voters who come in who may have intentionally or unintentionally put themselves on the list to have a mail-in ballot sent to them permanently, but now they want to get off of that. this is a way, an avenue for in the polling place. If they put in that request, you can hand in the form and get it back to the BOE. So they still, for these voters who come in, who have requested a ballot, they come in, they will still have to vote provisionally at the time that they're in the polling place. That's going to be a reason code 4. Hopefully all the chiefs and all the provisional judges yelled up, yeah, reason code 4, we all know that. So they'll still have to vote provisionally, but this form, by signing it, getting back to us, will remove them from that list. When you return it, you're going to return that in the voter assistance return envelope. And as I said, I'm going to send you a copy of all of these updates and reminders. Polling place evaluators. We did discuss this in training. All the precincts will have someone to come in who will make sure that all your signs are in place. They'll be examining some of the procedures. They will come in with a badge. If the badge is going to say polling place support program contractor. Many of you know that we contract with the League of Women Voters, but they're not going to have a League of Women Voters sign. It's going to say polling place support program. We had some confusion about this last cycle, so we'll make sure everybody understands that that's the badge that they're going to have. On the sign-in sheet, there is a line specifically for the evaluators to sign. They are allowed to be there. They are allowed to look at your documents. They're making sure there's certain documents they are there to make sure are completed. They're going to be looking at the no electioneering zone. They're going to ask if they can observe the provisional process, the same day registration process. If there are no voters in there doing that, they may ask the judges to role play with them. So they receive training. They're not there to disrupt anything. They're there to evaluate. They're going to ask the chief for a few minutes to ask some questions, and then they're going to be allowed to go around the polling place to check off the items they need. They may be there anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes each individual person to do their evaluation. When they leave, they're going to give you a report. It's going to be in an envelope. You are free to read that report, but please put it back in the envelope and return that report in your chief binder. You can put it in one of the pockets in the front or the back. Provisional voting, something I want to talk about. We're going to talk about that a lot, actually. A change in procedure is when filling out the election judge section, for the official use only section, and you are required to put in the ballot style where you get from the voter authority card. That now has 2 ballot styles. It shows one for the paper ballot and it shows one for the BMD. Even if if the voter does need to use the BMD, that ballot style, that is still the one that you need to put into the ballot marking device. However, when you go to fill out the provisional, if that voter elects to use the BMD, voter registration has asked that when we fill out the provisional application, even if they get a ballotization card, that they fill in the ballot style number for the paper ballot, and that's going to be the first number. I'll tell you again, I'm going to send you an example of this so that you see what we're talking about. And that is a change in the procedure that you would have been taught in class. While we're talking about provisional, I want to bring up some observations that we saw from early voting. So I'm not going to do a complete retraining here, but this needs to be a reminder to the chief judges in particular to observe your provisional judge as they're doing the first couple to make sure they understand the procedures. One of the things that we did see over and over was that when the provisional judge was completing that application, they were tearing off the registration page. Remember, it's a carbon, but those 2 pages need to stay together. What should be torn off is the instruction sheet. I want everyone to think about it. You need to give the voter the piece of information they need, which is the instructions on how to do it and what happens next. We want to keep the part that we need, which is the information they wrote on that application. Okay. The other thing I want to mention about the provisional is you all know that the oath, the new oath pocket is on the provisional application. Make sure if it is a same-day registration voter who has to vote provisionally, that the oath comes over from the check-in table and gets into that provisional application. We did have some that went into the same-day registration envelope. If you're in a consolidated precinct, and there's over 20 of those, if you are in a consolidated precinct, in your chief judge binder, you will receive instructions on the specific things that you need to do there. There's a report, a precinct specific report that you run from the scanning unit. You have the step-by-step instructions on how to do that. Like I said, you have a copy of all the differences that are in there. We did talk about them in training, but now you have the step-by-step instructions. If on Monday night, when you receive those instructions, you have specific questions about exactly what you need to do, please call the help desk, please call your roamer so that we can make sure on Tuesday night Tuesday during the day and Tuesday night, you are clear about what is needed there. Back to provisional voting real quick. And these are some of the things we noticed from early voting. Section 5 on that provisional application is a section that requires the voter to write in their information, to provide their driver's license and their social security number. We did have quite a few of those be blank. It's very important. It does say mandatory on that sheet. We need the provisional judge to make sure that part is filled in. So as you as chiefs or whoever else may be listening, just make sure that is done. So these are just reminders of some observations we saw. Same thing with same-day registration. If a voter is an SDR voter, they should only have one of two codes, code 11 or code 12. We shouldn't see anything else for same-day registration. So you as chief, you might be the one doing that, and you want to double check that your same-day registration, your SDR judge understands that. You saw our fancy new maps in training that we're going to have at the front entrance of every polling place. So make sure you do put that there. Don't hang it with anything but the blue tape, but you want to put it at the door. The idea is for the voters to see that before they enter the polling place. It is a boundary map. It is showing the residents, it is showing the boundary of all the streets and locations that are within that. So it's telling the voter, if you live within this, you vote here. If you live without this, you vote somewhere else. And it tells them gives them information on how to find where they live. And if they vote in this place, there's a provisional. The other thing that you're going to have in your supplies is a smaller map that you're also going to post. This one you're going to put nearer to the polling room. The idea though is to catch the voters before they come into the polling room. You want to make sure your judges are aware of this so that they can show this. If you have any VOPs that you set outside as a greeter, and about 12 of the locations will have an official greeter, this will be a good thing to point out to those judges to make sure they understand that that map is there and the purpose for it. Please make sure that at the end of the evening, you return these maps. And they come in a cardboard box. They're rolled up. You're going to put them in that box, and these will be returned with the closing judges. I'm going to talk about the help desk a little bit. So we want you to always call the help desk if you're unsure about anything. It's preferable that you ask us. We're going to tell you to use your job guides. Use your step-by-step, but if you're uncertain about any procedure, please call and check. When you call the help desk, it's very important that you state your precinct right away. so that we can identify that, so we know who's calling. And sometimes there's specific information we might be able to pull up to help answer that question. You're going to call the help desk. We also will have roamers available. The roamers will be assigned regions with precincts within those regions, but they're not necessarily going to be making multiple visits to each precinct as they have in the past. They will try to visit at least once, but mainly they will keep contact with you via phone to try to answer any questions you will have. And as I said, you can always call the help desk. The roamers will have some procedural knowledge to help with that. They are not the IT technicians. They can do some basic troubleshooting with the equipment, but for serious equipment issues, we will be calling IT. So make sure you let the help desk know if there's something going on with your poll books, BMDs, or scanning units. The roamers also will have supplies. They will have, based on previous elections, frequently requested items. If you need LAN cables, printer rolls, they have copies of some forms, they have stickers, things like that. They also have supply depots that they can go to if they do need to do, if there's something beyond what they have in their bags. There's also runners available who can come from BOE depending on what you may need. We're gonna ask that, we know you all are creative and you have great ideas, some things that we may eventually adopt. But one of the things sometimes we see are handmade signs. Be careful when posting those, because if we post it and it has to do with the voting process, it needs to also be in Spanish. So let us know if you need some kind of signage, something that you feel is important on Monday night that somehow we didn't supply to you. You think maybe need it, let us know. Maybe we can get that out to you. If it's something just as a reminder to your judges that's on the table, that's okay. But I just want everybody to be aware about that we are required to have certain information also in Spanish. Chief judges, I want to encourage you to work together. I know there's a lot of first-time judges. It makes everything easier if you work together and communicate with each other. This is particularly true when you're calling the help desk. Let each other know if you're going to call the help desk so that you don't report something twice and so that we don't think that something has happened 2 times. Work together, make a plan, like I said, communicate. If you don't have any closers, guess what? You're going to be bringing it back. Let us know Monday night if your closers don't show so that we can make a plan, because it might be there's some other judge can serve that role. But it's important that you identify that, and we want you to know up front that you will ultimately be responsible for getting the items back. It's the same thing with the driver, the VOPD. Make sure that the driver knows they're the driver. Make sure they understand it is their task to get the black bag and the ballots to that regional upload center. And you want to get them out as soon as possible. Don't let them, they're not there to stay to the end of the election till you close down. The idea is to get them out as soon as those items are available. Make sure all visitors sign your sign-in sheet. As our director said about the candidates, the candidates should not be coming into the polling place unless they are candidates who are on the ballot, unless they're there to vote. Your sign-in sheet does say in parentheses somewhere about candidates. Ignore that, cross it out, so that the VOPs don't mistakenly see that on the sign-in sheet and think that it's okay to have the candidate come in. In terms of the sign-in sheet, make sure all your judges know where it is. During early voting, I went into a couple of sites and no, they couldn't find the sign-in sheet, or it was on the chief table far into the room. Put it in the front. The idea is to catch the visitor right away. So make sure everyone knows where it is. The other thing that you want to make sure everyone knows about is your emergency plans. Go over that on Monday night. Post it. Don't hide it in the binder. Put that available prominently where everyone knows where those rallying points are. Okay, make sure if anyone is, you have a second shift, a B, make sure they know. Make sure your closers know. Okay, put everything on visible for people. The other thing that I want you to have visible, and that I want you to understand, if you can see, if we can see, this, if you can see this, this is your chief judge binder. This is where all your information will be, all your forms, all your step-by-step procedures. This has the latest information. This is what you want to use. I bring that up because what you're also going to have is a fancy election judge manual with a spiral bound. This has information in it. This has the procedures in it, but this is not the latest. This is not the most updated. This was printed a while ago. Make sure when you're using your equipment, when you're looking at your forms, it is your binder. However, you do want to have this out and visible on your chief judge table, because this is one of the items that the polling place evaluators are looking for. So have it out on the table so that you don't have to dig for it when they ask for it. You will have also a workbook. Everyone should have seen a workbook in class. A workbook looks like this. Those are those documents and booklets that you use in class as training instructions. The judges, you all are allowed to bring this in the precinct with you. We encourage you that you use it, but it's the same thing. The most updated information is always in that chief binder and in your job guides that we provided for you. You should have the job guides at each station. They're colorful, they're cardstock. But we did send, this is a VOP workbook. It's a white cover. It says VOP. We've sent one of these to each precinct, just in case you have somebody that you need to spot train. But also in here, you're going to find a document that's not going to be on your job guides. It is the standards of acceptable ID. You'll have a copy. Every precinct has a copy of this so that you can have that standards of acceptable ID. And you will also have a copy of the 21-day rule, so that it shows you the date, it shows you the cutoff, so that you don't have to guess. So in this booklet here is where you'll have a copy of that. The other thing I want you to be aware of as chief judges is you do have in that manual the appendix with the troubleshooting guide. We encourage you to look over that, get familiar with some of the ways that you can help yourself before you call the roamer. But it's the same thing, the roamers have that. Call the help desk, but you do have that on site. And if it's in that guide, it is tasks that you are allowed to do to try to address some problems you may have in the precinct. Another procedural update that I want to mention is for the 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Unofficial turnout results, in which you print the voter counts from the poll book. We want you to call us with those results or text us. You're going to be sent, the chief judges, you'll be sent a smart sheet link on your phones where you can enter that data. As I said, alternatively, you can call us. The last thing I want to talk about is if you have a chance, you have nothing else to do with your weekend, I encourage everyone to go to the online supplemental review and look over everything. You've got some valuable information there. The videos are there. Videos beyond what you saw in class for opening and closing the equipment, step-by-step on how to check in a voter. It's mainly geared towards the VOP, but there's information that'll be valuable to all judges, particularly the chief judges. I believe everyone was sent a link to that from the recruiters in your on your dashboard. So I do encourage everyone to take a look at that. And have a good election, everyone.
Thank you, Julia. I believe that Dr. Zelaya has an update based on a communication he got from one of the chief judges in the course of the meeting.
So as I mentioned during the PowerPoint, at the beginning of recruitments, the majority of polling places had at minimum 1 to 2 future vote volunteers scheduled to attend training. When they missed one of the 5 sessions, then they failed to attend a mandatory session and it will not appear on the roster. So if a student shows up not on the list, turn them away or call me. Secondly, if for whatever reason your corresponding precinct or polling place does not have an assigned and or trained future vote volunteer, you will see this in your last minute document jacket. And it states precisely that. You do not have a future vote volunteer for the primaries, but I will make a concerted effort to get you a nice robust list for the general election. So once again, you will see the Monday or election day roster. And if you do not have a student assigned to your polling place, you will see this corresponding roster with no names on it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Zelaya, that concludes our part of presentations. Now, we would go to questions that you might have. And my colleague, Janet will promote chief judges. We can start with, I believe, Phil, then Bonnie were the first ones. Janet?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Phil.
Hi, my question is on the future voters. In the past, we were told to only. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. My question is on the future voters. In the past, we were told to only communicate with the guardians, but the list some of us received this year only has the email for the students. And so I would like to know, and some of the chief judges cannot even see the future voters at all when they go to their link. And so I would like to know, number one, are we still to just communicate with the guardians, or can we communicate with the students themselves?
The student's name appears on the roster, but the email corresponds to the guardian. That information is retrieved from the application, from the process when the guardian applies. I also have instructed the guardians, for whatever reason, to report to their selected polling place at 6:30 if you cannot get a hold of them or if they don't respond to your communication. They will report to the corresponding location at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, the 13th.
I appreciate it. So in the case where the email matches the name of the student, like the student's name is John Smith, and the email is john.smith@yahoo, I think I can assume that that's not the parent's email, but rather the student's email. If we see cases like that.
Once again, the email was provided by the guardian.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Janet, Bonnie was the next.
Yes, I was wondering why the chief binder cannot be made available prior to Monday night. Because it would be helpful, at least to me, to have it sooner.
So if we manage to produce chief binder sooner, what would be, in your estimate, the time to pick it up?
Well, because I'm new to this, so I mean, it would have been helpful to me to at least have a few days, like say Thursday prior to the supply pickup on Saturday, because I won't get it until Monday night. So I'll want to read through it.
Okay, we will make a note on this, but there are a few operational difficulties here. Number one, Thursday is the last day of early voting.
Okay.
And for us, it's literally retrieving all the equipment, everything is coming back.
Okay.
Organizing the scale for the Montgomery County of organizing a pickup on a scale that Montgomery County would require for 232 polling places in the same location where the equipment is moving in and out on that day would be quite of operational difficulty. But we will look into this. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Julia Douglas again. I also would like to add with the binder, most of the information that's in there, when you come through your training, you have it already. You have samples. You have samples of the form. You have all the step-by-step equipment when you come to training. And that workbook that you get, it's the same information.
Thank you.
Okay, Janet, can we have the next one? Beth?
Yeah, I just want to verify again, it's the future voters question. I'm used to seeing my future voters on my like as a separate link in my rosters. And so in the past, I've contacted my future voters at the same time we've contacted the rest of our assigned folks for our precinct. There is no future voters link on the roster, so I've not been able to contact them. Am I correct that if there is no future voters link, we don't have any future voters assigned to our precinct?
So for the primaries, unfortunately, the link wasn't available. We will work on it for the general, but however, as noted in my part of the briefing, every corresponding polling place will have one of two rosters. The Monday and election day roster as presented on the PowerPoint, and you'll get a copy of that later on after the briefing. And if you don't have future vote ambassadors, you'll have the corresponding roster. So in your last minute pocket folder, you will have your corresponding future vote roster. And I apologize for not having that on the EJ connection, but we work on that for the general.
That's great. The only problem is that my co-chief and I are going through the bags on Monday before our meeting. And so I won't be able to contact any of those people in advance, which means that it's a little, I'm hoping they're going to show up, but I won't have the information until Monday. So if they don't show up because I didn't contact them, it seems a bit unsporting. So that's fine. I mean, I don't want to dive off into hypotheticals and stuff. We've had future voters in the past, and I usually do contact them and verify and lay out the rules and everything in advance, and I won't be able to do that with them. So it is what it is, I guess.
Could you tell me what's your precinct? I'll just email you if that helps.
Oh, that would be amazing. It's Bethesda Library. It's, I don't know the number. I can look
That's all I need.
Okay, great. If you could just email it to me and Beth Sinclair, that would be great. And then I will email. That would be perfect. And I will email them and make sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Beth. John, can you, I really cannot follow, just a second, guys. I cannot know in which order we're. Hello?
Hi, this is Lee. Two things. We have already checked in, my co-chief and I have already checked in our bags. So again, I heard Dr. Zelaya say he was going to email all the chiefs with their student voter email addresses because we need those. Oh, I thought I heard you say that. Hey, would you please email the future vote students email addresses to all of the chiefs, because I don't have it either and would like to send the introductory email out.
Check in the last minute pocket in the last.
I already did, and we put it in the chief bag and we resealed it. So we already went through the whole thing, and I saw that they were on there, assumed they would be on the EJ connection today, because I also noticed that my voting operations judge list had increased and grown from the last time I checked. So it wasn't there after we've already locked it back up.
So we personally added the future vote roster in every single packet that went out with the supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're highlighter green and yellow.
Yeah, I saw them. I know they're on there. I just don't have the address.
Unfortunately, it's gonna be extremely difficult to email every single polling place. The parents were communicated to show up at 6:30 if the corresponding chief judge is not contact for whatever reason. So this is for whatever reason.
All right, understood. There was a red envelope inside the chief bag that was unidentified. It has a precinct sticker, but no instruction or purpose for what it's for.
You said it's You said it red one with,
Yeah, a red envelope, like, you return the voter
Does it-
assistance forms
does it say
in.
attention BOE?
Yes.
So that is a catch-all. If you have something, a document, a reprinted back, a torn document, something that you are not sure what to do with it, you just put it in that attention BOE.
Okay, and lastly, our bag did not have your spiral bound book, so will runners be sending those out to precincts that did not receive them?
Did you check the orange provisional supply bag?
I would do no such thing.
But that's
It's
that's
in
probably
there?
where it is.
Okay, all right. It was not in my Red Chief bag. We assumed it would be in the Red Chief bag. So, all right, fantastic. We'll look for it when we get the orange bag open. Thank you.
Hello, we had a difference of opinion on the provisional for early voting. Is question 5 driver's license and social security number, or just one or the other? Thank you.
So it depends on the situation. The preference is for it to be both, but the driver's license is mandatory, that ID number, and the social security number is the one that's optional. But if you have someone who didn't have that license number, you want to make sure that they've provided the last 4 digits of their social security number. The voter registration team needs something to verify.
Thank you.
And in the case of a same day registration voter, they are looking at that driver's license for both identity and residency. So that is why it is important to complete that section.
Thank you.
If it's a voter where it's a code, they've just returned the mail-in ballot or something like that, it might be less crucial, but voter registration just needs all information possible to make sure that the voter can count. So that's why you want to put as much as possible.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Janet.
Hi, we have a future voter who notified us today that on the setup night, he would have to come 1 hour late. Should we allow him to come an hour late for setup and work on Tuesday, or should we say, as the parent said, if it doesn't work, well, we'll do it next time?
The answer is yes. You should allow a future vote who already told you in advance that they will be late 1 hour for whatever reason.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Janet, next call.
Hi, Mindy asked us to send her emails. What is her email address, please?
Okay, it's Mindy, Williams at Montgomery County MD.gov.
That was easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet, please, next.
Mary, if you're talking, you have to unmute yourself.
I already talked.
Okay. Janet, can we have next? Alan?
No, I'm good. Sorry.
All good. Mary, do you mind putting your hand down? Okay, Cheryl?
Hi, on the provisional voter section where the ID, I appreciated that clarification on the driver's license and social security number. We had people who don't carry their physical document with them, like their driver's license. They had it as a picture on the phone. Can we accept that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next.
Joey?
Hello, Boris. Joey Montgomery here.
Hi, Joey.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, so I had one quick question. I asked Marnie, since I served as chief at Mid-County a few days, and she gave me generally the A-OK. We're a little short-staffed at Ross Body, District 8, Precinct 7. And I'm curious if we're able to have the provisional judge, if it's not a lot happening at the time at that table, and it's the proximity to the BMDs and the paper ballots. Are we allowed to have them maybe assist at other areas? It's very close to the provisional table. Of course, we keep the orange bag in the fly cart, which is going to be right next to our chief's table. Is that okay?
I would be very reluctant to okay any last moment change of the assignment or possibility to move people around and leave the provisional table unattended. I understand that there might be some polling places with less than preferred number of election judges assigned. That is, I wish I could explain to everyone how much effort we did and how much new activities we undertook in order to animate sufficient number of volunteers to fill every polling place at the levels that would make your organization or your approach to running a polling place fully functional. So at this point, I would say let's not go that route. Let's stay to the provisionals where they are.
Okay, one last little tidbit about the payroll sign-in sheet combination. You want that because my other co-chief picked up the supplies this morning. I'm curious. I could of course ask her where the payroll originated in the red bag, but when we finish it, can't we just put it in the front sleeve of the chief binder instead of having it just loose in the red bag? Wouldn't that be a preferred spot for it?
Just a second, Aisha.
No, so the payroll sheet is in the clear envelope that was picked up today with the chief bags. And I would like you to put it back in that clear envelope in the red bag, the chief red bag. So it's locked up and we know where to look for it to find it.
So don't place it anywhere in the chief binder is what you're saying.
Correct.
When it's at the end of the day.
That's correct.
Back in the envelope it was picked up in, please.
Oh, sure thing. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Joey.
Thank you. Oh, of course. Thank you.
Okay. William?
Good evening. I only have one question. On my roster list, I do not have an SDR. How do I appoint someone or ask someone to do that? And do I have to indicate that on the payroll sheet?
So, despite our efforts,
I know you guys did great.
Fair enough. SDRs, we did not manage to hire for every location. So in absence of SDR, it's upon the chiefs to perform the duties that would otherwise be performed by the SDR election judges.
Great, thank you. We're studying up on it as we speak.
Okay. Michael? Michael?
Doing really such a great job that you can pull together and train like thousands of people every 2 years. I really appreciate that. I came in 30 minutes late. Where can I get the recording?
It will be on the website exactly where the link is to the meeting.
And also, thank you. And I also wanted to mention to Bonnie, who complained about not being able to get the chief binder early. I just wanted to recommend, especially since she's a first-time chief, that she does not wait until Monday night for the first time to open that binder. Get with your co-chief tomorrow or tomorrow is Sunday, or sometime during the day Monday and look through that very carefully. So that's my advice. So thank you again.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, Zoom user.
Hello, this is Carolyn Randall. I'm a little confused about when we get the chief's binder. And I hear that we did not get it in I haven't opened all my bags. When will we get the chief's binder?
It's in the bags.
It is. Okay, good.
It's in your red bag.
Red bag, good. Thank you. I was hoping it was.
Okay, Margaret.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for this session. Even though we had technical issues getting in. Confirm for me that the future voters were communicated with, or their parents were communicated with recently regarding their assignments, and that there was communication back confirming they understood.
Yes, it's discussed.
Okay, so we don't communicate with the future voters or future vote participants or their guardians on one instance only. So the communication has been going back and forth. I'm not sure that I understand the last part, that we received communication from them confirming that they understood.
Yes, well, because like in the case of where I've gotten my roster, the initial piece in terms of it was we reached out by email and I heard back from most of them by email. We've also been doing then the follow-up phone calls in terms of it. And my chief judge and co-chief judge and I have done that for the roster of regular people. I don't have that list of individuals for the future voters. So wanting to confirm that there was the same intentionality related to communication with them.
During the application process, it's communicated the time that they will need to report to the precinct selected location. The guardian, when they apply, select the polling place and the corresponding shift. Also, during the application process, is communicated about the mandatory Monday night precinct setup and the pickup and dropping them off during election day. Then at training, it's mandatory for the guardian and the student to attend a mandatory session. We had 5 in April. That was communicated probably ad nauseum that they need to report at 6:30. However, it is what's the word? I'm trying to find. I would be grateful if the chief judges contact the students as well. They're anxious. We have communicated, an email went out also 2 days ago regarding the same instructions I'm providing to the chiefs. But I think it's also welcoming if the chiefs get the corresponding rosters. Yes, I apologize for it not being on the EJ connection, but please make an effort to contact or email them or call them regarding the Monday night precinct setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim.
Hi, thanks. I have 2 quick questions to clarify on the provisional world. When somebody is an ABS, they come in and they're going to provisional, I believe on the application, question number 3, the reason why they are voting does not show ABS. Is it okay to leave that blank? That's the first question, and then I'll have a second question.
So Jim, on that question, you mean on the application, original application?
Yes, ma'am, on the application.
That if that's what you mean, then yes. The only thing that you need to indicate is on the official use only section, the reason code.
Correct. But on the application side, we would leave question number 3 empty because there's no, okay, great. The other thing is I thought I heard something that was a little different than early voting, and I just want to confirm, and that is regarding the oath. If they are pre-qualified at SDR for some reason and they've got a driver's license, that oath, we were told, was supposed to stay with the SDR on that envelope. the only oath that was supposed to travel over to the provisional to go into the pocket was for the not pre-qualified. Is that the
That's
same
correct.
for election day, or that is correct?
That's true.
Okay,
They're
because
gonna-
earlier I heard all oaths will go to the provisional. I
No,
just
well,
wanted to clarify that.
If I said that, I misspoke. You do
Thank you
want
very much.
only the standard ballot. I mean, only the provisional ballot goes to the provisional. The standard ballot stays at the check-in table with the SDR.
Right, the oath. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Samuel? Samuel?
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Just to clarify, for the provisional voting, if the provisional voter wishes to vote a BMD, and so if they wish to vote by ballot marking device, we have to put. Did I hear correctly that we have to put the ballot style for a paper ballot on the provisional application in the official use section?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. But you still would put that BMD style on when you go to the ballot marking device, you would still use that number. You just, when you fill out the application, you need to write in the ballot style number, the paper ballot style number.
The paper ballot style number on the
Right.
application. But
Yes.
But we still enter the BMD style on the device itself.
That's right.
Okay. And I think my oh yeah, that's number one. Number two, if a provisional voter indicates a change of party affiliation on the application, should we indicate that the party the voter wishes to vote, or the party that's listed in the poll book?
So if they're just trying to change it for the future, they don't even have to vote provisionally, right?
Okay.
That would be a voter update form. Because we cannot change the party affiliation in the polling place.
In the polling place.
Past the registration deadline. However, if the voter is claiming that there is a mistake, that the party that we see in the poll book is not the party they believe they're registered with, and they changed it with us, then we will select reason code 3 in the poll book to indicate that. And on the application, in that case, there's two different sections. There's one where you're selecting the party that they want to be affiliated with.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another section that is indicating the ballot they're voting today.
Okay.
And that one should match whatever is on the voter authority card. But only in the case where we selected that reason code 3, where they're claiming that our information is incorrect.
I'm sorry.
Would be only in that situation should that be two different parties written on there.
Two parties. So two different parties in that.
In
like
get the specific.
Okay, so on the provisional application, if the voter claims a different party,
on that application in section 6, where it's asking such political party affiliation, that's where you want to put what do you want to be for the future? What affiliation do you want for the future?
Okay.
In section 7, where it's the type of ballot, that needs to match the ballot they're actually voting. So in the case where this person is claiming our information is wrong,
right?
And we gave him the one that he's claiming, then that should match that.
Okay. So the ballot,
that,
so the
that
ballot,
ballot.
yeah, so the ballot
That's the
style.
difference between 6 and 7. And if you look in your chief judge booklet, the work booklet, there's a explanation page that shows you. It's a picture of the application, and it has an explanation of what each of these sections mean.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Just a small reminder, we would have a hard stop at 7 o'clock. So if we can just go through the questions that that are crucial at this point fairly quickly, knowing that all the materials you will have available in your packets. Help desk will be available for any phone call, any situation that you might experience on election day. And as my colleague said earlier, preferred way to go forward is we don't guess, we don't improvise. We consult the books, we consult the judges, we pick up the phone and contact the help desk. Janet, next.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. In answer to the last question, real quick, if the voter claims another party than was indicated in the poll book, it's choice 3, and as far as I know, then the voter gets that ballot in provisional.
That's correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that the previous caller understood that.
Okay.
About my original question that I asked, I did not see a future voter list in our payroll or wherever it might come. But also, Dr. Zalago, I did not see no future voters scheduled paper either.
What's your polling place?
Gaithersburg High School, 0902.
Okay, thank you. We'll look at that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yossi? Hello?
Hello, that's me.
Yes.
Hi, Boris. Yeah, one thing, we checked the red bag, me and the co-chief, we didn't find the manual for the chiefs, that's one. Secondly, answering the question earlier, we used to receive the chief's manual 1 week ahead, was mailed separately to the chiefs at the home address back, I'm talking back to 2016 and before. The other question I had, it was done in 2016. It was mailed separately.
It wasn't the manual, that was Quick Start. We eliminated the Quick Start binder. You used to get the Quick Start binder mailed to you.
Okay, that's what.
Binder is in red sheet. The binder has.
Binder, no, the manual for the chiefs, not the binder.
If he's looking for the election judge manual, that is in orange bags. That's not what you.
The manual should be in orange bag, Yossi.
No, I didn't check the orange bag. We are in a hurry. We checked only the red bag. I checked the orange bag on Monday night.
Okay.
I found me and the co-chief today. I just found out there was a VOP. She volunteered for 1 day.
Yossi, we cannot go into particularities of one polling place. So if you have a personnel issue, a recruitment issue, you will need to contact recruitment, because there will be some people who might drop out from different polling places for different reasons. So you will need to go through recruitment to try to remedy the situation. Okay.
Okay. The other thing is the forms. I look at the training manuals. We have one section there. We have all the forms. I was looking at the forms. We could print them out. The forms are not there in the training, all the training chapters. We go chapter 1, chapter all the way to chapter 15. They used to have forms, part of that training material. It's not there.
Julie. Pick up.
So, sir, can you express that again? What are you missing?
Like in the training literature there, you have chapter 1, like the chief's manual, almost like the chief's manual. You have it on the digital form on the. So you go to chapter 1 to chapter 15, and there's one.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Oh,
So yes,
there.
on the website there was no chapter 14 because those are specific forms, and at the time that was published, all the forms were not updated. But as I stated before, the forms that you actually will use are in your binder. You want to use your chief judge's binder. The only thing that will be available in that election judge manual, the bound one, are samples, and some of those are no longer the updated versions. Those are samples that are used throughout the state. That is not the exact forms that you use on election day. That is what is in the binder that you get in your red bag.
I understand that. Are we going to have them fixed for November election?
Let's pick that one up after the primaries. Let's go through the primaries first, yes.
Okay. That's
Thank
all I
you.
have. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you, Boris. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel?
Yes, we have a guardian who has 3 future voters, 2 at our precinct and 1 another one. Should I have her call Gerbeltro, or what should I do?
Can you say it again, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, they have 3 future voters, 2 at our precinct and 1 at another, so she can't be both places at once. I can have her call you, or I can call you. What should I do? What should we do?
She was communicated that she needs to make the arrangement to have another family member take the third child to the other location.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sebastian?
Hello, I was wondering which chief bags can I open right now?
Hello. So you can open any of your bags as long as you do it with your co-chief.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Daniel?
It's Ying Lee.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hi, this is Ying. Thanks for leading the session. I have a question. I'm new here, and unfortunately, I'm the solo chief this year, so I don't have co-chief. Can I open the bags, go through and reading the chief binders today and tomorrow, instead of waiting for Monday night? I'm kind of nervous waiting for Monday night. You are muted, I think. Boris, you are
I
muted.
apologize. We have a couple of polling places where we still have not successfully appointed the second chief judges. So if you are chief in one of those polling places, but only in one of those polling places, you are allowed to open and go through the materials while we are hiring or promoting the second chief judge to your polling place. Okay?
Perfect. Do you think there's a possibility you will give me the co-chief by
You
Monday?
will have a co-chief. Every polling place will have 2 chiefs of different political parties.
Oh, okay. As of I checked right now, I'm still solo.
I know, but election day, you will have, your polling place will have 2
Thank God.
chiefs of different political parties.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Joseph, you're muted.
I assume, since you didn't mention it, that there's no indication that the BOE has received about any potential disruptions of polling places here in Maryland, Montgomery County.
We have We have no communication to share that would indicate anything of that nature, sir. So,
Wonderful. Thank
okay.
you.
Amy?
Hello, just real quick, someone was added to my roster. The position is VOPC, C as in Charlie. What's that?
C is consolidated. That means you're working in a consolidated precinct. So most of the positions in that precinct will have a C behind it, except for your driver and your SDR.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
provisional.
Jennifer?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have two questions about provisional voting. What if they don't have a driver's license at all?
It's okay. You will still have to ask them to provide the last 4 digits of their social security. And if
Okay.
you are in doubt, please call the help desk.
Okay.
The second question?
And then the second question is if, and because I've had this happen before, when somebody insists on changing they're changing their political party and wants to vote on the new ballot. What's the best way to handle that?
If they come in and they request fundamentally to vote a different party ballot that the poll book shows, just give them that and record on the back of the application that the voter voted ballot that is not as per their voter registration record. Not the
Okay.
first, not the last one.
Okay, and we're not allowed to tell them that their ballot won't count. We just,
That's not your decision, ma'am. That goes to
right,
the board.
right. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. Next one, please. We'll take a few more calls, and that will be we will conclude for today.
Yeah, my question is, if I have only 2 BMDs, so if I allocate one to provisional, so how it works?
You want to answer, Lucia?
So there's no, during election day, you do not have a dedicated BMD for the provisional.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next.
I don't have anything for you, but thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. Scott?
Yeah, 2 questions regarding media. Are we expecting any international observers or media types for this primary cycle, or that would only be the general? We had them before.
You had them before. We don't have at this moment any indication of any visits. However, if it happens, there will be people with accreditations, and you'll have a visitor's log to provide for them to sign in, sir.
Second question, do we anticipate, or how do you want us to deal with so-called citizen journalists who do not have corporate media credentials if they wish to come in and take pictures of the polling place? Do we just put them in the same corner?
What do you mean in the same corner, sir?
You were talking about previously that when if the media comes in, and I think Dr. Z pointed this out, we just basically pick a corner and let the media scan the room, but they're not allowed to interfere with anybody. Do we treat the so-called citizen journalists who want to exercise their First Amendment right to be media journalists to come in and take pictures of the polling place from inside the room?
They take the pictures in a manner that you would allow any other media outlet to take. Any suggestion that we would allow one media type or another to stroll through the polling place and take a pictures either of voters or the ballots.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about going through it. I'm just saying, are we okay with people who are citizen journalists who do not have corporate media credentials?
Let them sign in, sir. Let them do the job that they claim they are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny? Jenny?
Muted. Jenny, you're muted.
Can we go to Deborah, Janet?
I went to Deborah.
Okay.
She's muted too. She's got to unmute.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Boris, and thank you to everybody who's willing to serve. Quickie, you guys will send me a text for 11 and 4. Can I take a screenshot of the voter count and text that to you?
Why would be easier to take a picture, attach it, and send it back instead of sending a number?
That's what I mean. Take a picture of the voter count. And
No,
then just
I need the response in the text that I send.
okay. So you just want the number in the text.
I need your precinct
Okay.
number, and I need the numbers because it's by party, remember?
Yep.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Hi, Pauline.
hello. Thanks again for everything you guys do. I just had a quick question for provisionals. Since there's not going to be a designated BMD device for provisional voting, are we having all provisional just do paper ballot?
No. Provisionals can use the BMD. We just separated during early voting because we have a lot more to give out during early voting, and we can segregate them and try to keep them from getting to the scanner.
Okay.
Anybody can use any BMD, even in early voting. We just designate them at early voting just to try to control it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Lane?
Hi, I'm the chief at an understaffed precinct. We do not have a provisional, which means I'm the provisional. I can't spend all day sitting at the provisional table because I'm understaffed. Can I have the SDR judge keep an eye on the provisional table when I'm doing something else?
That SDR judge is not trained to be a provisional judge. They are trained on check-in and SDR. And if you, and they're the only other judge besides you who's trained in SDR. So if you are going to have someone else man the provisional,
Not man the table, just keep an eye on it when I'm not there.
Well, if it's keeping an eye on the ballots, it's the ballot bag that needs to be secure.
Yeah, because I can't sit at that table all day.
Yeah, I thought she was saying to sub.
No, just to keep it for security purposes, that they're keeping an eye on it so that no one's poking around at it when I'm running around manning the scanner.
Okay. I understand that at some polling places we will not have a provisional judge or we will not have SDR judge. It will fall on the chief judges to cover for these specialties. I fully understand and I agree with you that you cannot, as a chief, be tied to one seat, one table in the course of the whole.
I can't hear you, Boris.
So we understand that at some polling places, we will be short either provisional or SDR judge, or even some, we are currently still hiring for the chief judges. I fully understand that you as a chief cannot be tied to one table and one chair to act as a provisional in the whole election day. There will be other things that you will need to attend. Fully agree with you. I also fully agree that provisional bag, provisional materials have to be secured at any point in time. So I leave it to you, your co-chief and your SDR to make arrangements that would enable you to move around, as you mentioned, but also to have materials secured throughout the election day. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Shanika?
I'm in the same situation the other person is. So should we be expecting additions to our rosters? Because I'm a single chief. In the last general election, I was a single chief, and it was a much bigger thing. So I'm just trying to prepare my mind for if I'm going to be by myself and having to do multiple things on Tuesday.
Okay, so our goal is to have fully trained 2 chiefs for each polling place. On election day, there will be 2 chiefs at each polling place. We will try our best, depending on the number of people who will be available, as I said, to assign people who went through the chief judges training to serve at the polling places. In absence of that option, we will work with you and there will be field promotions to have 2 chiefs at each polling place. And I apologize if I misspoke about the name, but
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for the answer on the co-chief. That's real helpful. I did run across one issue the other day when I was visiting this site. The facility wants to provide food for all of the election workers. I was assured that that food would not be provided by electoral candidates or anybody on the ballot. What's your position in that respect?
Just a second, sir. So who is providing food? A facility, like a school? Like a...
It's a senior residence facility, Riderwood Village, to be specific. 0504.
Riderwood's providing food.
Riderwood
always provides food to the judges.
Is that acceptable?
It's nothing
Yeah.
new.
It's nothing new. It's not from a candidate. It's okay to go forward.
Right.
Thank you.
Provide the information to us.
Sorry?
They have to provide this information to us. Oh. So just on the recruitment reminders, information sheet that I gave you, there's a section here that speaks to food donation. So, you'll just have to find out the name of the person, the company, the food items. And if you send that to us, we can, provide a certificate of appreciation to them for their donation. Just as long as they know it's not going to the Board of Elections, rather to the precinct for the election judges.
So I'll provide that in my red bag.
The red bag.
I'm sorry?
Questions, do I provide that in my red bag, in the way back?
No. You can send the information on email.
Email, sir. Email it back.
Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jennifer Derman. How are you tonight? And thank you all for doing this session with us. I have a co-chief, but he's been unresponsive to my attempts to coordinate, and I have all of the supplies, but I understand I can't go through the bags without my co-chief.
Which
So
polling place,
what if-
which polling place ma'am, you are?
0421.
0421. Someone from recruitment will reach out to you.
Well, Carly did. She said she was going to today. I still haven't heard anything. And what if we don't hear back? And I'm going to start sending out organizational information to the volunteers at my polling place to get
Please
that
do.
moving.
Please do.
But can I open my bags, or do I need to wait until at least Monday night to see if he shows up?
So here's the thing. Now we are getting the kind of a gray zone here. Let us try to reach out to your co-chief we will communicate with you. Please bear with us.
Okay.
As I said, today we were handing out materials to chief judges from 232 polling places, and this job was very much carried over by recruitment. So give us a moment, give us some time to try to reach out to your co-chief, and then we will talk about opening the bags by a single chief judge, okay? Because
Okay, great.
that is
Thank you so
exceptional
much.
only for the polling place that currently don't have assigned second chief, okay?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's on that corresponds to all the polling places that at the moment have one.
Yeah. Next one, Hugh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. In my last minute items and payroll bag, I got a facility floor plan that was different from the one that was downloaded on the web. Have there been changes like that, or is that something I should talk to Mindy Williams one-on-one?
Hugh, which site was it?
1345 Parkland Middle School.
I will talk to Mindy because I didn't change it. She may have had somebody change it and repost it.
Okay, if it's just me, don't need to
Thank
take
you.
any more of your time. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Hugh. Jennifer? Jennifer?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I went to the Chiefs training class last night. They went really, really fast and they didn't answer a lot of questions. So my question is for SDR, if they're not a citizen and they're not 16.
Ma'am, if they are not citizens, that's the end of conversation.
Right. But it says, but if they go to the SDR and they want to vote and they don't have any of those things, you just politely say you can't vote here because the person who was teaching the class didn't know the answer.
So two questions. The way you phrase your question has to be clarified. If they are not citizens, that's what you said. If they are not citizens, there is nothing to proceed with, because only citizens can be registered. Only citizens can vote. Period. There is no further discussion. The second thing is, if there is no driving license or social security that the person can provide, right? That's the question that you have. Please complete the application with the available information and send it as any other provisional application so the staff at the Board of Election can do the research and take it further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Oh, I have some of my question already answered with another persons that they've been they've been having those questions. So my question is the binder in the chief binder, it's only one. I understand it's only one. So for each polling,
that's correct.
precinct. Okay, send up. And I haven't opened my bag, so I have to wait for my co-chief to get together to open all the bags, or
I believe that you have to coordinate with your co-chief.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank
the
you.
chief binder is in one of the bags, so I cannot I have to wait until communicate with her to open those bags. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, line. Hi.
Hi, I am concerned that this has not been explicitly stated. While there is no designated BMD for provisional voters can use the BMD, but they must be watched like hawks so that they do not put their ballot in the regular scanner, correct?
That is correct, and thank you for pointing out. So a note for all the chief judges. So pass it to the provisionals again. Any voter who votes provisional on BMD has to be instructed what to do with that card. So the card is not to go to the scanner, the card goes back to the provisional envelope.
Thank you.
Okay, we will accept 4 more questions and that's it. I'm sorry, but we'll try to answer any more questions that we get in communication, and especially we will have a help desk available both Monday evening and throughout the whole day on Tuesday. Yes, please. Dennis?
Dennis, you're muted.
Yes, thank you. Quick question. So, me and my co-chief are relatively inexperienced. So just in communicating with her, after listening to you guys, just some uncomfortability, I guess. I mean, she's uncomfortable. So the Roman, that individual would come by, kind of do evaluation, and if we need to touch bases with them for assistance, would they be available for that?
Roamers?
Yes.
That's the purpose why we have them, sir.
That's just what I needed to hear. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi,
Mary?
question. Thank you for everything and appreciate you handling all of our questions. Question, and this would be probably great. It'll probably ward off some questions next year if you can remember anything, or 2 years from now. But what is the latest date at which we should be checking our roster for new registered election judges and chiefs coming on with us?
Every day until Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, you can check every day until Monday. Although the assignments are released to those who have completed the training on April 23rd, we still are receiving new applicants, new applications. People are still going through training, so the assignments change frequently.
And so there's still training happening on Monday, is that right?
Well, training has concluded, but we still have some people to place in location, so it might be a difference.
All right, and I realize you're totally swamped with this, but for those of us that are solo chiefs right now, when do you think that our chiefs will be co-assigned to us?
So that process will be taking place. It's already begun for some locations, and so it'll continue on to Monday. And yep, so most likely you'll hear from either a recruiter or yeah.
Just watch the EJ. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm spinning the computer back and forth. I apologize for that. Correlate. Hello?
Hi,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I would like to add my thanks to everything you do. Your instructions are so clear. It is easy to use. People who are first-time chiefs should not panic. You're there to help. You might want to emphasize the field promotion option for those chiefs who are single. I was a beneficiary of that last time, and here I am ready to work.
So thank you for bringing it up. Field promotions are the option that it's on the table, but as my colleague Aisha said, we would like to wrap up first, giving assignments to anyone who has signed up late, went through the training late, and is still in the pipeline. So once we address that number of people that we have available to serve at the polling places, then we will go to plan B, which is field promotions. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. John Smith.
I've answered my question. Thanks.
Thank you. We have a different John Smith.
We're good.
Okay.
Hi there. This is Carolyn. Quick question. Will we have access to our roamer's phone number? Last time he was very, very helpful to me. And I would like to know if I can use him as a resource or her.
Julia?
I will answer that one.
Okay.
You were given your facilities report and your red bags with your last minute package with the payroll and all of that. And on it, it lists who your roamer is and their telephone number. There are a few precincts your roamer says BOE staff. We didn't have enough roamers, but we will have IT technical people out that if you have an issue with the equipment, they will come And they will be roaming in areas and we'll send them out. And it's only a few areas that do not have a roamer.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Is the last call Mark, Janet?
Yes, that's the last one.
Hi there, I hope you hear me. In
Yes.
regard to the BMD concern and provisional, I've been chatting with my co-chief as well. You'll always have an orange folder, regardless of whether it's a BMD paper or a regular paper ballot, as an indicator that that voter is provisional. So the scanning people should always be alert for the orange folder. And I believe the VAC will always say provisional. So there are
Absolutely correct.
There are safeguards against a BMD user scanning a form.
I really appreciate the clarity that your comment brought to all of us. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Provisional folder is different color. Provisional VAC has a different statement on it. It says provisional. So absolutely safeguards are in place. Just everyone in the chain has to follow, to pay attention and follow the instructions. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
That would conclude today's briefing. I really appreciate all the questions. I really, again, appreciate all of you signing in, signing to serve, coming to pick up your materials today, and especially serving on Tuesday. So thank you one more time on my own, for myself, for all my colleagues and the full board. And I hope that I'll see some of you on Tuesday. And I believe that we will have a good, successful election. Thank you.